This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Hello.
Hola.
Bonjour.
Konnichiwa.
Ni hao. Ciao.
안녕하세요.
Mabuhay!
Welcome to Washington State.
Explore the sights. Discover new things.
Appreciate the arts, music, and food.
Travel to new places.
Meet the people.
Make new friends.
In other words,
come
home with us.
Come home with us.
This is INC Radio Seattle, Washington.
Hello, good afternoon to all of those tuning in. Happy New Year. Welcome to the first show of INC Radio Seattle in the new year of 2024. We're super excited to be here with all of you guys. Once again, Happy New Year. And we hope that you enjoyed your New Year's Eve going into 2024. So for the very first ever topic of 2024, our guest is here to talk to us about her experiences and how she prepares for competitive sports or various activities. Hence our show topic, preparing for a competition. So you'll find out a little later on what she prepares for and what kind of sport she indulges herself in. We also have our updates on what's happening here in the District of Washington State. So please stick around to hear more about that. But of course, before we dive into all of that, we do have our local hashtag winners. So every week we have a friendly activity where the local congregations in the District of Washington State hashtags the local congregation that they're from in the live chat, and whichever local congregation hashtags the most will then be announced as winners on our next weekend's show. So please participate and support your congregation. But once again, I do have all the winners for this weekend, so let me go ahead and mention that. We have 3 winners. In third place, we have the local congregation of Seattle. So congratulations to my locale, Seattle. And then we also have in second place the local congregation of Des Moines. Congratulations, both. And then in first place, we have the local congregation of Marysville. Congratulations to all of our locales. And it seems like Marysville is always in first place. So come on, from everyone, from all the other local congregations, let's go ahead and support your congregations in the live chat. So we do want to introduce the many different ways that we can tune in. If you're not already connected, we do have our YouTube channel. If you type in INC Radio DZEM 954, you'll be able to find us. And when you do find us, please do not forget to subscribe. We also have our website, incradio.org. So once again, if you haven't already done so, please do so. Get connected. Share this with your friends and your family. Now to introduce our guest who is here, Sister Loida. Go ahead and introduce yourself. And if you have any shout outs that you'd like to make, now would be the time to do so.
Sure. Thanks, Sister Jenny. Hi, everyone. Well, thank you so much for including me in today's discussion. I'm really excited about it. I guess a shout out to my husband, Alan, and my 2 sons, Ethan and Jules, and the rest of my family and friends all over Washington, and some in Colorado, some in California. So hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone, especially if you're watching. We're super happy to have Sister Loida here. So thank you for sharing her with us on INC Radio Seattle. So we do also want to extend this question to those tuning in. We want to ask you, have you ever participated in any competitions? And if so, what was your experience and how did you prepare? Please let us know in the live chat and we'll go ahead and read your responses throughout the whole entire show after this promotional video. Cue tech.
You are listening to Iglesianicristo Radio, the voice of truth.
As the new year starts, have you set goals that are achievable and practical? Have you reflected on the lessons you learned from the past year? Join us this Sunday, January 7th at 4 p.m. Philippine Standard Time or 5 p.m. Korean Standard Time as we discuss the factors to consider in setting your goals, making them happen, and starting the year right. See you then!
This Monday on Like and Share. How do you make sure you're never late and always arrive on time? Let's talk about punctuality. Let's take a dip on the beautiful shores of Polillo Island. Have you ever gone surfing? Learn some surfing tips in this episode. Catch all of these this Monday on Like and Share, January 8, 2024 at 2 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. Only here on INCRadio.
Welcome back to INC Radio Seattle. Once again, my name is Sister Jenny Bilal Martinez. I am from the local congregation of Seattle, and I will be your host for today. So we actually do have some responses or some greetings from those who are tuning in. So I'm going to go ahead and read those. We have one from Sister Maureen J. Flata. She says, "Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. Hashtag Marysville." She's probably the reason why they keep winning, because she keeps hashtagging Marysville. Just kidding. We also have one from Sister Annette Baldonado. She says, hashtag Federal Way. Happy New Year, everyone, and happy wedding anniversary to Brother PA and Sister Shelly Secondez and Sister Malu Magaro from your Federal Way family. Hashtag Federal Way. Wow, I'm actually good friends with Brother PA and Sister Shelly, and I did not know that. So thank you for reminding me. I'll go ahead and send that congratulations or yes to our brethren. So once again, please go ahead and continue the discussion in our live chat. And if you didn't hear earlier, I did ask have you ever participated in any competitions? And if so, what was your experience and how did you prepare? Leave your responses and then we'll go ahead and read them throughout the whole show because we love including you here in INCRadio Seattle. Now let's go ahead and move on to our exciting discussion with Sister Loida. I did speak to her a little bit earlier and she had such great information to share with us. So first off, Sister Loida, what sport or activity do you compete in and what or who inspired you to do so?
Okay. Thanks, Sister Jenny. The sport that I like is running. So I started running in my early 20s when I was in college, but it was a lot more recreational than competitive. I just wanted to almost compete against myself. And I said, I want to run 3 miles. So I just started to try to build up from walking to running the 3 miles. But then a few years later, I was asked by some friends to join a 5K run for charity. And that's kind of what started, fueling my competitive edge on running. So from that point on, I started to do more 5Ks, some 10Ks, some half marathons, and then finally a marathon. So that's really what kind of excites me about running, is being not only competitive about it, but doing it for myself.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about these running competitions or even marathons. It doesn't feel like a competition when you actually love doing it prior to competing and everything. And like you say, it's something that you do for yourself and you love doing it. So that's awesome to hear. So I do want to ask you, because there's a lot that goes on into competing. There's a lot of behind the scenes that we don't see. So obviously I would like to know, and I'm pretty sure the guests want to know, how do you prepare for these competitions?
Yeah, good, very good question. You know how when you're running, there's always that right before they pull the trigger to get everybody to start running, they say ready, set, go. I feel like that whole ready, set, go is applicable before the run as opposed to, right before you're running, because in preparation, you're really getting yourself physically ready. And then you're setting your mind to get mentally ready for the race as well. So other than getting the right tools, for example, the right shoes, the right socks to avoid injury and blisters for one, it's all about trying to prepare yourself mentally as well. And in order to do that, you really need to apply some time management because it takes quite a bit of time to get yourself physically ready. So when your mind's not in it, it's normally because you have a lot of other priorities or distractions. So I think when you apply time management in your preparation, you're able to achieve your goals.
And for those who want to know a little bit more about how you manage your time, because I know that, it's advice that's kind of given, like, you need to make sure you prioritize your time and set aside time to prepare and this and that. But sometimes it's easier said than done. So obviously we want to know, how is it that you are driven to be able to be completely disciplined in your time management?
Yeah, no, that's another great question. I think for many of us, we have a lot of different priorities. We have work, we have our family, we have our friends, we have church and church duties. So I think it starts out with first knowing what are your priorities, then incorporating those priorities into your time for each day, each week, and so on. So you almost have to give yourself the gift of time in order to be able to organize all your priorities and make sure that you don't drop the balls that you're juggling throughout the day, right? You're going to drop some of them, but some of those balls are priorities and others can be set aside. So it's really about identifying those priorities and organizing them. And if one of your priorities is preparing for competition, then you incorporate that in your time management.
And I'm pretty sure that throughout your preparation, there's been challenges that you face. I know that sometimes there could be other days where you're like super um, enthusiastic about preparing, and then maybe there's another day where you'll kind of feel like not fully in it. Because, sometimes we have hard days and sometimes we have great days, right? So I do
Yeah.
want to ask if there are any challenges that you face, how are you able to overcome it?
Yeah, I think there's no perfect days, right? You have a plan and you try to execute and then real life happens. So in order the type of challenges are always are competing with your time. So for example, you might need to go to an after school activity with the kids, or you have church duties to perform. I think for me, it's about, like I said earlier, having that identification of what is important to me, and then intentionally organizing those priorities into my time of the day. But that's hard. And sometimes, you just want to have a free day. So for me, what helps me stay on target is living by a calendar where I have all the important things in my life organized in a calendar. Sometimes my calendar for the day, it has something in it every single hour of the day, but that's okay because if I know in advance what I need to accomplish and it's on my calendar, then it's a lot more doable. And sometimes that time slot might get moved to another day, and that's okay. But you need to have that flexibility, but at the same time, try to stay with as much as possible on the calendar, if you will.
And I love that you said that it is okay sometimes to switch things around on your calendar. I feel like there could sometimes be those who are like super, they feel like everything has to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, if they did miss a practice or, they didn't eat right, sometimes they're kind of hard on themselves when actually, it's okay to have, those little mishaps, like just be forgiving. And again, it's like what you mentioned earlier, make sure that you're also doing it for yourself because you love the sport. Don't forget to do this to have fun in it instead of just thinking with a competitive mind. Earlier, outside the show, I did ask, or you did mention something that I also did love. You said that Well, I asked you why is it that you do this,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Because maybe some people are asking that. So I'm wondering, yeah, let us know why is it that you do this?
Yeah, no, good question. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, I think for many of us, um, male, female, just everyone at any age, giving yourself the gift of time for the preparation for the big day is so hard because of all our priorities, because of our families and our friends. We want to be able to give our time to everybody. But I think when you give yourself the gift of time, that's really gives you permission. You're giving yourself permission to allocate that time for yourself, and that's probably the toughest challenge. But once you're able to give that gift and accept that gift for yourself, then it becomes more manageable. But I probably haven't said it before, but having the support of your family and friends with respect to your established goals for that competition is so important, because you could determine that the goals that you want for yourself. You can sign up for the competition, you can prepare for the competition, but if you don't have the support of your family and friends, then they kind of work against you. They become more of a distraction, not just a priority in your life.
And how is it that they support you? Do they also come to your competitions and watch you from the sidelines?
Definitely at the end, having them there is very important, but it's probably a lot more important to have them on a daily basis saying it's okay that you're going to go for an early morning run, that you're going to wake up at 7 o'clock or whatever time you're going to get up, and you're going to dedicate that time to go and run or prepare for the run, as opposed to maybe having breakfast with them, right? So having that support where no one's resentful about you dedicating your time is so much more helpful.
And
So
I'm
that
and I'm
kind of I'm sorry. So that kind of support is really what I'm talking about versus just being there on the day of the competition.
And some could probably be wondering why would there be resent towards anyone who is preparing for like competitions, but I do relate that to that because I do understand, like, for anyone who is preparing for competition, like you said, they do dedicate a lot of time to that as well. And so in dedicating that time to competition, sometimes you're not always able to spend time with like family members and whatnot. So but you're able to do it, like you mentioned, you do have kids, you're a wife, and you also have work. So I'm pretty sure those are some challenges that sometimes you may face. But I do want to ask you, what would be your advice for those who do want to compete, and what should they be prepared to expect?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I think it's going to be difficult for everybody, like you said earlier, but I think to garner the support of your family and friends, you need to set expectations up front. So set expectations and also approval, right? Because they're not really supporting unless they approve. So what I tried to do with my husband Alan and my boys, even when they were younger, was just say, okay, so mom likes to do this. And in the morning, mom is going to go for a run. And on Saturdays, she might go for a longer run. So let's not expect mom to have, breakfast, or maybe, take them to this certain activity at this certain day and time. So I think that everyone's more supportive if they know ahead of time that what you're trying to accomplish and what you need to do to accomplish it. It's almost like when that 5 minute rule with the kids. You probably understand, Sister Jenny, when they're young, you say 5 minutes before it's happening, okay, in 5 minutes, we're going to put away the toys, uh, versus like right at that minute, let's put away the toys. Because they didn't understand that in 5 minutes you have to prepare to let it go. But if you set expectations up front, everyone's a lot more supportive.
And it takes a lot of love, selfishness, or selflessness, basically. So I do love that they all support you, and that it is really easy to support your loved one in doing that when obviously you put their happiness first. And again, like you said, it is a busy schedule, and I'm sure that you all do so much even outside of this preparation and support one another. So that's amazing. And thank you so much, Sister Loida, for sharing us your experience. There's so much that we can talk to you about. Again, like I said earlier, we did talk to Sister Loida outside of this, and she had so many great things to share. So hopefully we can have you back here for part two and or something like that, because it's amazing talking to you. But again, thank you so much for being here on INC Radio Seattle. We did receive some responses from our audience, so let's go ahead and read some of them. There's Sister Marine J. Flata. She says, competitions I've participated in, I was in our Unity Games activity. I prepared by practicing volleyball with my team a few weeks before the activity. Hashtag Marysville. From Sister Janice Flata, she says, everyone from the Flatas, she says, happy advanced 16th birthday to my kind and beautiful daughter, Maureen J. We love you. Hashtag Marysville. From Brother Andrew Santa Monica, he says, probably need a whole year to compete in something physically demanding. Sister Loida doesn't need that. She's been living an active lifestyle ever since you're younger, right? So he says, hashtag Seattle. From Brother Felomar Flata, he says, I like I like Turon. Also, but hashtag Marysville. Running is also fun. LOL. That's so funny. I wish I thought about that. From Sister Blessing, she says, my kids competed in swimming, wrestling, drama, etc. I spent so much time driving them around, practicing with them, etc., that I felt like I was in a competition. Sorry, I'm still laughing about it. But you also have a comment from Brother Norman. He says, Happy New Year to all brethren, hashtag Shoreline. Also, Brother Christopher King, greetings from hashtag Everett all, and happy birthday, Sister MJ. And then he says, a goal without a plan is just a fantasy or something. Oh, wow, that's actually an amazing thing to say. Thank you. And also, again, last but not the least, Brother Andrew Santa Monica, he says, hashtag Seattle. In a competitive biking, there's literally road bumps along the way. Wow, that's a great way to see it. Thank you so much for all the responses and for tuning in. And, we hope that you all join us next week just to continue this conversation, because we have so many different things happening here in January. And talking about that, I do have the updates happening here in the District of Washington State. We did have our past activities. On January 1, Burien held their New Year's celebration. Yesterday, January 5, we had our Kent New Year's celebration. And happening on tomorrow, January 7, we have our district launching of INC Giving. Also, Tacoma and Olympia will be having their Bookwood monthly meetings after each worship service. So please go ahead and attend those. If you don't know, Bookwood members are those who are already married here inside our church. And then on January 12, Tacoma will also be celebrating their New Year's celebration. So that's what's happening in our district. And if you don't already know, every Monday and Friday, we do have our district EBMs at 7:30 p.m. So that's happening all here in the District of Washington State. So please go ahead and visit, especially if you're not here from Seattle. We welcome you, and we hope that you'll also move here. Not kidding. Just to leave you with a cliffhanger, what to expect for next weekend. We want to ask you, have you ever participated in a marathon? Join us next week as our guest will tell us his experience with running in a marathon. With that said, we'd like to give everyone a huge thank you for tuning in. And we also like to give a huge thank you to our beloved executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. We also like to thank our Subsea president and overall CFO overseer, Brother Angelo Manalo. Thank you to our station manager, Brother Anil Solano. We also like to thank our assistant district minister of Washington, Assistant District Minister of Washington State, Brother Relly Rivera, to our CFO Overseer, Brother Chris Valdez, and our Executive Producer, Brother Manly Andaya, and of course to all of you, the listeners. And lastly, but not the least, thank you to our INC Radio Tech crew. It is because of all of you that we get to do this every Saturday and get to connect with those from all over the world. Once again, thank you so very much and Happy New Year from INC Radio Seattle. We'll see you later.